Hey, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to tackle a problem that is, both a huge daily annoyance and a real security risk, a failing door lock. And yeah, we're going to show you how you can fix it yourself.
So, does any of this sound a little too familiar? That frustrating jiggle, that wobbly handle that feels like it's about to come off in your hand? Or, and this is the worst, the lock that just will not turn. We've all been there, right? And it's usually when we're in the biggest hurry.
But hey, before you call a locksmith or rush out to buy a whole new lock, just hold on a second. The good news is, most of these issues are surprisingly easy to fix. We're going to show you how a simple repair can secure your home and, honestly, save you some serious money. So, let's dive in.
Okay, so how do you know if your lock is just being a bit stubborn or if it's actually on its way out? Let's break down the telltale signs you need to look for. The signs are usually pretty obvious. You know that gritty feeling when you turn the key? Well, that's often just dust and tiny metal filings building up inside. Or when the key fights you every step of the way. That could mean the pins are misaligned. And a wobbly handle? That isn't just annoying. It actually means the whole mechanism is under stress. These are all early warnings that your lock is crying out for a little attention.
All right, so once you spotted the symptoms, it's time for the fix. We're going to walk through the 4 most common DIY repairs that you can totally handle with just a few basic tools. And honestly, this is pretty much all you'll need. It's nothing too intimidating, right? A basic set of screwdrivers, some needle-nose pliers, and what I like to call the secret weapon of lock maintenance, graphite spray. And notice I said graphite, not an oil-based lubricant like WD-40. We'll get to why in just a second. You can find all this stuff at any hardware store.
First up, lubrication. If your lock feels gritty or stiff, the problem is friction. The solution is just a quick spray of graphite lubricant. Now this is super important. Do not use an oil-based spray. Those sprays are sticky, and they end up attracting even more dust and gunk, which actually makes the problem worse over time. Graphite is a dry lubricant, so it won't do that. Just give a quick puff into the keyhole, work the key in and out a few times, and you should feel a huge difference almost immediately. Next, we've got a deceptively simple fix for a wobbly handle. You'd be amazed how often the problem is exactly what it seems: loose screws. Just take a close look at the handle and the faceplate, grab the right screwdriver, and tighten everything up. It's a 2-minute job that makes your lock feel solid and secure again.
You ever have to kind of push or pull the door just right to get it to lock? Yeah. The culprit is almost always a misaligned strike plate. That's the little metal plate on the door frame. Houses settle over time, and that can cause things to shift just enough to be a problem. All you have to do is loosen the screws, nudge the plate up or down until that bolt slides in smoothly, and then tighten it all back up. Problem solved.
Okay, deep breaths. This is the one we all dread. A broken key. First things first, don't panic. If there's a little piece of the key sticking out, you can often just grab it with needle-nose pliers and gently pull it straight out. If it's broken off flush with the lock, you'll need a key extractor. It's just a simple tool with a tiny hook that you slide in right alongside the key to snag it and pull it out.
So now that we've covered what to do, let's talk about what not to do. Because trying to force a solution can easily make the problem so much worse. Here are 2 absolutely crucial tips from the pros. This is the #1 rule of lock repair. Seriously, never, ever force it. Inside that lock is a set of delicate, precisely engineered little pins and springs. Trying to muscle a jammed key is pretty much the fastest way to snap it off or break that internal mechanism entirely. And then you've turned a simple fix into a major replacement.
And this is a genius pro-level tip. After you've done any kind of repair, whether it's tightening screws or lubricating, always test it multiple times with the door wide open. The absolute last thing you want is to fix the lock, close the door, and then discover your fix has permanently jammed the bolt, locking you in or out.
So these DIY fixes we've talked about cover a lot of ground, but it's just as important to recognize when a problem is out of your hands. Let's look at when it's time to put down the tools and pick up the phone.
This is a pretty clear rule of thumb. If the problem is on the surface, stiffness, loose screws, a slight misalignment, it's a perfect DIY job. But if you've tried these simple fixes and it's still not working, that's a big sign that the problem is deep inside the core mechanism. At that point, it really is time to call a pro before you accidentally do more damage. Plus, they can give you great advice on upgrading your security if you need to. So the takeaway here is simple. A little bit of knowledge is really empowering. Understanding these basic repairs means you can restore your home's security in just a few minutes. And you can save yourself the cost and the headache of a totally unnecessary service call or a full replacement.
And that brings us to one last really crucial question. You now know how to fix the lock itself,
But think about it. A strong lock on a weak door is really just a suggestion. Is your door frame solid? Is the door itself secure? Fixing the lock is an absolutely vital first step, but real security, that means thinking about your entire entryway.